The year was 1986. Picture a peaceful suburb in Massachusetts. Imagine lush green lawns and charming houses. The streets are quiet. Children play freely. This is the kind of place where neighbors greet each other with warm smiles. It's a picture of idyllic American life, a place where everyone feels safe and secure. Towns like these often seem untouched by the darkness of the outside world. They exist in a bubble of peace and tranquility. But even in the most serene settings, darkness can lurk beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to emerge. This story reminds us that evil can penetrate even the most seemingly impenetrable barriers. It reminds us that true horror stories don't always unfold in dark alleys or abandoned buildings. Sometimes they unfold in the places we consider the safest, in the homes where we should feel most secure. This is the story of the Daniel LaPlante home invasion, a chilling reminder that monsters can wear many faces and terror can strike when we least expect it. In this peaceful suburb lived the Andrews family. They lived a seemingly ordinary life. The family consisted of Priscilla, the mother, and her 3 children, Andrew, Brian, and Annie. They were a family grappling with their own internal struggles, their seemingly perfect life masking a current of unease. Priscilla, the matriarch, was dealing with the emotional turmoil of a recent separation from her husband. The weight of single parenthood pressed heavily on her shoulders. She carried herself with a quiet strength. However, the strain of her circumstances was evident. Andrew, the eldest son, was a quiet and introspective teenager. He often retreated into himself. Brian, the younger brother, possessed a mischievous streak. He brought a much-needed sense of light-heartedness to the family. Then there was Annie, the youngest of the 3 siblings. At just 13 years old, she was already known for her kind heart and gentle nature. She had a certain innocence about her, a trusting nature that made her the heart of the family. Little did she know that her kindness and innocence would soon be tested in the most terrifying way imaginable. The Andrews family, despite their internal struggles, was a unit. They navigated the complexities of life together, finding solace and strength in their bond. They had no idea that their lives were about to take a sinister turn, forever shattering the peace they had once known. It was an ordinary day when Annie Andrews crossed paths with a boy named Danny. He was 17, a little older than her, with a shy demeanor and a disarming smile. They met at the local library, a place where Annie often sought solace and escape in the pages of her favorite books. Danny struck up a conversation with Annie, his voice soft-spoken and polite. He seemed genuinely interested in her, asking about her interests and her family. Annie, drawn to his quiet charm, found herself opening up to him. She told him about her brothers, her mother, and the recent separation of her parents. Over the next few weeks, Annie and Danny continued to bump into each other at the library. Each time, their conversations grew longer, their connection deepening. Danny listened intently as Annie spoke, offering words of comfort and understanding. He seemed to possess a maturity beyond his years, a depth that Annie found both intriguing and comforting. What Annie didn't know was that Danny was carefully crafting a persona, a mask of normalcy to conceal his true intentions. He had been watching her, studying her family, learning their routines. His interest in Annie wasn't innocent, it was a calculated move in a much more sinister game he was playing. Danny LaPlante was not the harmless boy he pretended to be. He was a troubled soul, grappling with his own inner demons. And he had set his sights on the Andrews family, with Annie as his unsuspecting pawn. Their chance encounter, seemingly innocuous, was about to plunge the Andrews family into a nightmare they could never have imagined. As days turned into weeks, a series of unsettling events began to unfold in the Andrews home. At first, they were subtle, easily dismissed as mere coincidence or figments of their imagination. But as the occurrences grew stranger and more frequent, a chilling sense of unease began to creep into the hearts of the Andrews family. It started with small, inexplicable things. Objects would go missing, only to reappear in the most bizarre places. Doors would creak open, seemingly of their own accord. Footsteps could be heard echoing through the house late at night, even though everyone claimed to be asleep. Then the incidents escalated. The phone would ring, but when someone answered, there would be only silence on the other end, a heavy, unsettling silence. Strange messages began appearing, scrawled on the walls in what looked like charcoal. The messages were cryptic and disturbing, filled with threats and pronouncements of impending doom. The family, shaken by these inexplicable events, tried to rationalize them. Priscilla, already burdened by the stress of her separation, initially dismissed the strange occurrences as pranks by her children, or perhaps the work of neighborhood kids. Andrew, ever the skeptic, remained unconvinced that anything truly sinister was afoot. Brian, however, couldn't shake off the feeling that something wasn't right. He confided in Annie, his voice hushed with fear, that he felt like they were being watched. Annie, torn between her growing unease and her trust in Danny, found herself increasingly disturbed by the strange happenings. She tried to confide in him, seeking reassurance and explanation. Danny, ever the master manipulator, would listen patiently, offering words of comfort and downplaying the events. He assured her that it was probably just a series of unfortunate coincidences, nothing to be overly concerned about. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted in Annie's mind. The strange occurrences, coupled with Danny's almost too perfect responses, began to chip away at her trust. A chilling premonition settled over her, a growing suspicion that something truly sinister was lurking beneath the surface of their seemingly peaceful lives.
Bobby and Sherilyn Jameson, a young couple from Oklahoma, loved each other very much. They had been together for several years and had built a life together in the small, tight-knit community of Eufaula. Their love was evident to everyone who knew them, and they were often seen holding hands and sharing smiles. They had a beautiful 6-year-old daughter named Madison. Madison was the light of their lives, a cheerful and energetic child who loved playing outdoors and spending time with her parents. She was always full of questions and had a curiosity that kept Bobby and Sherilyn on their toes. Life wasn't always easy for them. They had money problems, the economic downturn had hit them hard, and they struggled to make ends meet. Bills piled up, and the stress of financial strain began to take its toll on the family. Despite their best efforts, they found it increasingly difficult to stay afloat. Bobby got hurt at work. He suffered a severe injury that left him unable to work for months. This only added to their financial woes. Still, they were a happy family. They found joy in the little things and always tried to keep a positive outlook even when times were tough. They dreamed of a better life. The Jamesons decided to start over in a new place. They spent countless nights discussing their future and planning their move. They believed that a fresh start in a new location would give them the opportunity to rebuild and create a better life for Madison. They packed their truck and set off on a journey to find their dream home. With hope in their hearts and determination in their minds, they said goodbye to their old life and looked forward to the new adventures that awaited them. Little did they know, this trip would be their last. The road ahead was filled with uncertainty and danger, but they were unaware of the fate that awaited them. The Jamesons were excited about their new adventure. They talked about the possibilities and the new experiences they would share as a family. The excitement was palpable, and they couldn't wait to start this new chapter in their lives. They planned to look at a piece of land in Red Oak, Oklahoma. This land represented their hopes and dreams, a place where they could build a new home and create lasting memories. It was October 2009. The family drove their pickup truck, a red and silver GMC Sierra. The truck was packed with their belongings, and they were ready to embark on this new journey. Madison, their little girl, came along. She was excited about the trip and the prospect of a new home. Her laughter filled the truck as they drove down the rural roads. They were like any other American family, hoping for a fresh start. They had dreams and aspirations, and they were willing to work hard to achieve them. But fate had other plans for them. The journey that was supposed to mark a new beginning would instead become a tragic end. The Jameson story is a poignant reminder of how quickly life can change and how fragile our dreams can be. Days turned into weeks. The serene mountain landscape, usually a place of peace and tranquility, now held an unsettling silence. The Jameson family vanished without a trace. They were last seen heading towards the mountains, a trip they had planned for months. Their loved ones were worried sick. They reported the family missing, hoping for any news, any clue that could lead to their whereabouts. Days later, their truck was found abandoned on a remote mountain road. It was a discovery that raised more questions than answers. It was a chilling sight. The truck was unlocked, as if someone had left in a hurry. The engine was off, but the keys were still in the ignition. It was as if the family had simply vanished into thin air. The foggy mountain road added to the eerie atmosphere, making the scene even more unsettling. Inside the truck, investigators found even more strange things. It was as if the family had left in the middle of their daily routine. The family's dog was still inside, incredibly thin and weak, but alive. The poor animal had been left alone for days, surviving against all odds. All of the Jamesons' belongings were there too. Their wallets, phones, and even Madison's beloved toys. It was as if they had intended to return at any moment. The strangest thing of all was a large sum of cash, over $32,000, sitting in a briefcase on the front seat. Why would they leave such a significant amount of money behind? The mystery of the Jameson family's disappearance continues to baffle investigators and haunt the community. What really happened in those mountains remains an enigma. The discovery of the truck sparked a massive search and rescue operation. Volunteers combed through the rugged terrain, hoping for any sign of the missing family. Search parties scoured the area for weeks. They used dogs, helicopters, and all-terrain vehicles. But the family was nowhere to be found. The mystery deepened when investigators uncovered strange footage from a nearby security camera. The footage, though grainy, showed the Jamesons walking away from their truck. They seemed to be moving with purpose, but their destination was unknown. Adding to the puzzle, Bobby and Sherilyn appeared to be in a trance-like state, their faces blank and emotionless. Section 4. Whispers in the Wind. With each passing day, the case grew colder, and the lack of answers fueled rampant speculation. The small town, once a quiet and peaceful place, became a hotbed of rumours and theories. People gathered in cafes, on street corners, and in their homes, each with their own version of what might have happened to the Jameson family. Theories about the Jameson family's disappearance ran wild. Some believed they had simply decided to start a new life elsewhere, leaving everything behind. Others thought they might have been victims of foul play, perhaps targeted by someone they knew. Some whispered about a drug deal gone wrong, pointing to the substantial amount of cash found in the truck. This theory suggested that the family might have been involved in illegal activities and that their disappearance was a result of a deal that went terribly wrong. Others believed they had stumbled upon something sinister in the woods, something they shouldn't have seen. The dense forest surrounding the area was filled with secrets, and some thought the family had uncovered something dangerous, leading to their untimely fate. Some folks even entertained the idea of occult involvement, claiming the family's strange behavior in the security footage pointed towards mind control. The eerie footage showed the family acting in ways that were out of character, leading some to believe they had fallen under the influence of a sinister group. There were whispers of a family feud, of dark secrets and hidden resentments. Some speculated that internal conflicts had reached a boiling point, resulting in a tragic outcome for the Jamesons. But none of these theories could fully explain the Jamesons' sudden and complete disappearance. The mystery remained unsolved, leaving the community in a state of perpetual uncertainty and fear. As time went on, the whispers in the wind grew fainter, but the questions lingered. haunting those who remembered the family that vanished without a trace. 4 years passed. The mystery of the Jameson family remained unsolved. Then, a heartbreaking discovery brought a tragic end to the search. In 2013, the skeletal remains of Bobby, Sherilyn and Madison were found. It was a group of hunters who stumbled upon their bones. They were just 2 miles from where their truck had been abandoned years earlier. The discovery, while heartbreaking, only deepened the mystery. The remains were decomposed. There were no signs of foul play, no bullet wounds, no signs of struggle. It was as if they had simply laid down and died, the cause of death undetermined.